You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the Meta. The Meta controls everything. The Meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching The Meta Show.
Whoops, wrong button. Yay! We're live! Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Meta Boat Show. We have special guest host Wild and special guests Aerith and Nominate, and I might have to restart the stream. Yep. Maybe.
So terrible.
Well, no, it's streaming at 5,000 kilobits a second, but it's in the red, like the stream is dying or something. I don't know.
Solar flares.
Yes, what?
Solar flares.
Okay, Sadist says, why am I never a guest? This is ridiculous. Next week, actually. Hi, everyone. Yeah. Oh, hey, we already have a resub for 12 months. Thank you, CS Shuffle. So, hello. If everyone wants to go ahead and reintroduce themselves, Mr. Wild.
Hi, I'm Wild.
And what are you?
Failed CSM member, hanging out with the two of the most awesome CSM members.
All right, Aerith, if you could say hi.
I am the always benevolent Aerith.
And then we have a Nominate.
I am a Nominate.
Hi, Nominate. So, real quick, before we go anywhere, I want to ask you, Nominate, did you encounter? Yeah. Oh, holy shit! The resubs, 20 months, 18 months. Thanks, Jimmy J99 and Kane. Appreciate that. And we have a new sub using Twitch Prime. In case you don't notice, Twitch is owned by Amazon now, I believe. And Amazon Prime is having a deal where if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can sub to any stream for free for 1 month. And then Amazon pays for it. So if you want to throw subs at us, now's your chance. Yeah, so real quick, Nominate, I got a question for you before we get into the serious business stuff.
Yeah.
I heard you encountered a drunk Hippojax last night. Is this true?
Last night?
Yes,
in real
last
life,
night.
or
No, not real life. No, this is in Jabber.
Oh, okay.
I have no memory of that.
So you were just... he comes into call on TeamSpeak at like 2 in the morning. He's like, Vote, I love you. Okay, Color, I love you. you know, I love you. And then he apparently went off on a tangent onto Kilgarth. Hey, another resub! Says gay for Jay. Okay. Alright, so we're going to get started. Real quick, I want to talk about the Alliance Tournament. Alliance Tournament starts today. For those that haven't been watching, Eve NT has took over guest hosting duties. Normally they don't stream this first week, but Eve NT, whoever they are, I've never heard of them before. But apparently they're taking over the stream.
Eve Nottingham, I think.
Oh, Eve Nottingham. Okay. Well,
you know, they've done a decent job. I mean, they've had Apothony and Elise and Chocolate Rain, and I'd like to just point out though, Apothony's feet do not actually touch the ground. He's like an elf.
He's too short. Now, I heard some news. I had been gone all day today. I went grocery shopping. I got some food. Made burritos today. They were so good. I came home, and I heard that some big things happened in the Alliance Tournament. I heard Triumvirate lost some really shitty fit Hyperion, and people have been mocking them for that. And that PL lost at Etana. Is that true?
Yeah, yes. That was nice.
Now, did they lose the match, or did they just lose the ship?
They just lost the ship.
And I don't want to bake any conspiracies into this, but the camera went side. You know, it was the show. The match was delayed like 10 minutes, right?
Right.
CCP was trying to do something. There was issues. There was back and forth. All of a sudden, we come in, and those poor what was it? The other team just basically had one ship already dead. PL is basically in the one, and then the Etana blows up. That's how it went down. I think an incursion and a wormhole all popped up at the same time too.
Oh God. You need to step outside more, Wild. You're stuck in that IT world too much. Your conspiracy theory. So, yeah, the Alliance tournament's kicked off. Of course, PL, when the Alliance tournament season comes around, goes into shutdown mode. And because of the Alliance tournament going on, you have NC Dot invading CO2. For those of you that haven't heard, NC Dot and Pandemic Horde have declared that Tribute will belong to Horde by the end of the month. NC Dot has deployed to the system of KQK right on the border of Tribute, and will be working with the likes of MC, Shadow Cartel, Pandemic Horde, Darkness. Apparently PL and Tissue are supposed to be coming, but it's Alliance Tournament week, so I highly doubt we'll see them for a couple weeks. But I'm interested. What the hell is going on up north? I mean, weren't they just not blue for like the last 7 months, and now all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we're kicking you out. I mean, you don't belong here anymore. Anyone?
Well,
Shocker. Like,
things don't usually work out well for traders.
didn't we say this like 5 months ago? How
Yeah,
it all
I mean,
played out?
Eric, I got a question. I mean, you tend to be very outspoken with these things. I mean, could you say I told you so now, or?
I mean, I think we all known how this would play out. It's
Right.
it's not like it's a hard prediction. This is how it's played out for the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years in the meta. Yeah, like to me, it's almost like a non-story. Like, Groundhog Day.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, I'm surprised that it didn't happen sooner, and then in a far sweeping way. I think this goes to some way though to say like Pandemic Horde is an interesting alliance or corp that's just kind of coming up from the rear.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well-
I don't see. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Everyone always, you got to remember, we've all been trying to figure out this new system, like us included. Like, how does Eve function now with the Age of Citadels, and how that does interact with PosiSov, and does Sov even matter as much anymore, or is it basically all Citadel based, and where do you base, and how do you live, and how do you do an economy? Like, we've all been figuring that out.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I think they're probably just now realizing, yeah, we might want this space for some reason. They shouldn't, but whatever.
Well, I mean, they have this feeling. So there was a private message leaked to Reddit between Gobbins and CO2 CEO GigX, where on Reddit they talked about how Gobbins is like, no hard feelings, but we want tribute for Pandemic Horde, and we're kicking you out because we want to be one jump from Jita and deal with it. So I'm very interested to see how they plan to accomplish this. Now, the first like week of this fighting has been NC Dot getting smashed, right? Like, their Supers and Titans hold the field, they get an iHub online, but they lose everything else, right? And they've been getting outnumbered like 2-1. It's been pretty nuts. CO2
And the propaganda war has definitely gone to CO2 and test. I mean,
yeah, Reddit. Oh, shit, Reddit was dead.
If it was a propaganda war, this war is already done.
Is the thing is, can NC Dot actually kill a CO2 Keepstar? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think they can.
Not on their own, no.
Where is PL? Where has because I mean I understand they've done this alliance tournament, but not all of the good ones. Well, all right, I'm using that term loosely. I mean, not all of them are doing this. So where have they gone?
It's going to be more like, I think that anyone that has sufficient Supers and Titans can kill a Keepstar. It's, are you going to kill it for less than they paid for it? And that's kind of the thing about Citadels. Like, yeah, they're strong enough to be, you're probably not going to be as positive on that fight, especially when there's 2 or 3 fights. So that's why most people aren't hailing. It was like, you can kill them, but do you really want to?
Yeah.
Right.
Which is why we have a zillion of them in Dell right now. Like, someone was linking with a public site that said we only had like 75 Citadels. Like, what the hell? We have way more than that.
No,
We just spam shit out of it.
I think the number's closer to like 300-400 by now.
Shit.
Yeah.
I think I have a personal.
Once we get our Titans out of 93 PI, I swear to God, we're coming back. We're going to be a force to reckon with.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
there's people out there that actually still believe that. By the way, Wild, so you should watch what you say. They're a little concerned.
Was that OPSEC?
I don't know. It says CO2 and PL could kill a Keepstar. Why would CO2 and PL kill a Keepstar? That makes no fucking sense.
No.
But anyway, so moving forward,
Yeah.
there's a war in the north going on. Besides that, Eve has been pretty boring. Catch has been, like, Volt and CVA been fighting against Try and Lumpy and some other random groups I've never heard of. And Lumpy has been taking the space ever so slowly. That war has been kind of comical because when Volt cares enough to form up, they outblob them. and they win. And then when Volt says fuck it, they lose like 4 or 5 systems, which is kind of hilarious. Hey, another 10 months resubscribe. Thanks, 5 Lost. But other than that, I mean, Eve hasn't really had much going on. Other than, I'd say the best 2 topics right now are the CSM, the Alliance Tournament. For those who don't know, let me find you the link real quick. I thought I had it open, but apparently I closed it. Oh, no, I have the link
Sorry,
open.
Sadis. Sorry, Sadis. I apologize for spilling those Intel secrets.
Oh, God. All right, so here's the link to the CSM minutes. CSM minutes were brought out this week. We were going to have a CSM discussion last week, but the minutes weren't released yet. So I brought on our 2 special guests to specifically talk about what they can talk about with these minutes. For those of you that don't know, the CSM had a CSM 11 summit. It's the first summit. It was from September 12th to the 15th. The minutes were finally released this week. Zenuria is unable to make it today. I think he's at work. But there's 55 pages. I did not read all of this. I skimmed through it. We had talks about wormholes. We had talks about 0-0. But I want to take our CSM members here and ask them, quiz them, I guess. The first one I want to talk about is a very controversial topic that came up from... Hey, Lavender Princess, how's it going? A very controversial topic that came up almost instantly from the Wormhole Group. The Wormhole Group had a lot of talking points, especially the CSM people that were involved. And based on what I'm reading on Reddit, there's a 300-page thread of, what the fuck? Why is Wormholes getting shafted so hard? And I want to get your 2 comments. What do you think about the way it went with regards to Wormholes?
I'll try to speak in ways that don't leak anything or don't bother me.
Yeah. Don't leak anything.
The way the story kind of goes is the Wormholers came in with a pretty good kind of presentation. Like, you know, they did it serious. They did a real professional look at it and they gathered a lot of data. But fundamentally, what they were asking for was the ability to make C6s even better, right? To make the crab hole part of wormholes even better and have more links.
Right.
And then they asked for some other fixes too that I think are valid and they probably should get fixed. But fundamentally, it came down to wanting more connectivity so they could project power easier, but yet their crab holes probably would still maintain a monopoly. Like it was hard to not feel like it was self-serving.
Yeah.
Like, extraordinarily
Yeah, that does
self-serving.
sounds pretty bad.
Now, one of the things I did hear from several CSM people, not even... Zenaria's in chat. I didn't know that. Hello. So one of the things I did hear from several CSM members, not even our own, is that this CSM outside of the Wormhole Group felt very less objective based. Like no one was going in there going, "Hey, I want to fix it for my people." It was more.
No, this CSM was the most harmonious we've ever had. Like that, right. CCP's basically told us that. And
yeah, I just looking at the notes. I mean, I thought that you guys, from the different personality types, the different agendas, I thought you would have had a lot more conflict. But you know, the attendance records of everyone involved, as well as the notes, seem like you guys are doing a pretty bang up job this year, with all of the controversy that led up to this year, right?
Yeah, and to some extent, I think that. Not as much as probably occurring on the week-to-week meetings and things of that nature, but more is occurring at the summit probably that ever happened, right, as far as getting things done and vetted out, in a quick manner, in a kind of a harmonious manner. Like everyone was basically aligned, and every topic is up 2 or 3. Wormholes being one. Obviously the alpha. No, sorry. Never mind. I don't want to even talk about that one.
Is there anyone that drags Fozzie outside and just kicks the shit out of him? Does that happen? I mean. Is that still? Does he even care? Is he like, oh, it's like what emails?
There was one session where Fozzie clearly didn't care. He didn't even bother to take any notes on feedback. But there was another session where he clearly did care and did take notes. Yeah, there was 2 sides of Fozzie, and I liked the second Fozzie more than I liked the first, and a couple other people commented on it as well.
Yeah. So one of the things I also heard from this meeting is that's from the meeting notes and from other people talking, not even our CSM, is that. When CCP came to you guys with a question of, do we work on new structures, get them done, get them out of the way, or do we look at rebalancing the shit that is FozzieSolve? Which, to get this out of the way, I like FozzieSolve the way it is. I'm coming at this with I like this system, don't change it opinion. But what was presented to you guys with that? Like, what can you talk about with that? And how was it replied as a CSM?
Well, let me first state that the entire CSM believed that FozzieSolve is fundamentally broken, right? That was unanimous.
Right.
But we also were unanimous in the sense that we all wanted structures first, because we look at it as two ways. One, structures impacts the greatest number of players in EVE, and it has the greatest likelihood of being able to retain the players that are coming with alpha clones, right?
Yeah.
So it's clearly the best business decision. But also, if you do want to fix FozzieSolve, the most likely way you're going to want to fix it someday is to attach it to these new structures.
Right.
If you don't release all the structures, you have nothing to attach it to. So I see it as, hey, lay a
I see,
foundation
I
with
see.
structures and then fix FozzieSolve later on the back of that.
That's
I don't know if that's CCP's thinking as well, but and if it was, I couldn't get into it. But that's what I've always been a proponent of.
what do you think, Dominic?
Well, I'm pretty much in agreement there. If CCP were to put structures on the back burner, I don't think they would ever go back to it.
Right.
That's their history
It's kind of like walking to
shows that
stations.
repeating.
Yeah, well, I mean, they like to do it where they hit it and then they don't review it for another like 2 to 3 years, right? Because they have a whole game plan, right?
Hey, Ingress, thanks for your
Well,
sub,
even
dude.
there's a whole lot of things where they release the mechanic and they, it might get a couple of fixes if it's badly broken, but once they stop working on a particular feature, it's pretty much locked in place for years.
Yeah.
Well, and remember, we're in the middle of a huge transition in Null around how the economies are formed, how you live in them, your quality of life, how the organizational units function. We've gotten one of 3 structures, and it's changed EVE tremendously. If we can get the other 2 kinds of structures they've already announced, and maybe the 3, 4, 5, 6 that they showed on our earlier roadmap a few years ago, that's going to change EVE. And I think everyone can agree it changes EVE for the better. So we already know this is working. Let's just stay the course and get this done.
Right, but here,
Eris, wasn't one of your platforms to have like the market view multi thing? Did you get to go into any market conversations?
No, like they don't have any resource. Like we think that maybe someday when we can get it to add it at the API, and that'll be better. We'll see. Like I think that I want to wait and see for how some of the new changes that are coming down the pipe we can't really talk about change EVE, and then we'll see if we need that or not.
Gotcha.
yeah.
Sorry
So the question that I have is: so CCP has a known history of getting with the CSM, doing these minutes, coming up with this great idea, and then they don't really go back to it. It seems. You look at Walking in Stations; they had this Walking in Stations idea. The entirety of EVE was like, "Yeah, this is fucking stupid." It disappears and never comes back, right? And now you're looking at Citadels. They've released Citadels. They have these awesome Citadels, but they haven't really gone too far into fixing things, such as insurance in Citadels, inventory in Citadels being busted, things that need to get fixed before they look at new stuff. Are they looking at fixing Citadels in general and then stepping into the new mods, or are they just saying, okay, we need to get this new stuff done and get it out quick?
They're definitely thinking about fixing them more after the summit. I'll say that.
Oh, that's good. That's
The CSM was pretty unanimous in, hey, things like we need insurance. That's a basic core feature that we can't get without.
Yeah, because I mean, they expect people to live out of Citadels, right? But then they don't expect you to be able. You have to go to a station 2 jumps away to insure your ship. Otherwise,
Yeah.
Okay, so
This really isn't. Citadels aren't something that CCP can afford to let not be finished.
Yeah.
I mean, the goal of Citadels is to replace the POS code, which they pretty much are afraid to touch, and have been for years.
yes,
And so,
I just find that odd as like in IT to have there's like some section of things that you're just refused. We're like, oh, we don't want to do anything. It could break the entirety of the game. You're like, oh, okay, that's kind of that right there is that I would fix that, because if anything has the potential to destroy my entire economic platform, I'm going to go after that and document it. But no, let's be different.
yeah. So that's another thing too. Is so going back to wormholes. I didn't mean to leave wormholes as much as I did, but this was a good topic. Is that one of the things I'd like to see? Is they're pushing for connectivity. They're pushing for making wormholes a better quality of life. But one thing I'd like to see added, and I went to the Wormhole Roundtable to try and ask about this, but they drowned it out, is fatigue to wormholes. You've had wormhole groups push for fatigue in 0.0. With Jump Bridges, they pushed for fatigue with the Phobe changes, or Phoebe changes that, worked with, hey, thanks for the new subscribe. Phoebe changes with terms of, doing whatever, capital jumping. But they haven't really looked at wormholes. Like, when you travel somewhere like, say, a PL wants to go from Venal to Delve, there's no fatigue there. They could just do it, find a new wormhole, go out, and if everything is mapped, if wormhole space is mapped by all of wormhole people, well, it's just another gate route, right? For most people, then. Have they looked at how they're going to adjust the ability of wormholes? I mean, if you can talk about this, to balance that out. I mean, has that even been a topic of discussion or even looked at?
You want to field that one, Nominate?
No, not really.
God damn it!
What is the low? I mean, we actually, you all were together, and in a previous year, there was literally a guy like live streaming and texting, leaking basically every second he was with the dev. We haven't had that. I mean, Reddit's Reddit.
Actually,
but,
hold on.
But I don't feel.
We haven't had that yet because he's still on the CSM. Gorski Carr is still there.
I wasn't trying to use names.
Well, I'll use names. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Gorski
But
Carr
what I'm
is still
saying
on
though
the
is
CSM.
like this has been pretty impressive, and I'm wondering if this is the CCP guard and the kind of the re-energized CSM has that trust kind of come back between the players and the things. I thought I saw something with some comment that CCP is still a business. You guys are just here to do something like that. Almost had the potential snippet of shut up. But I couldn't get the tone with it. So have you guys returned to like having kind of some trust, or is there still a friction?
I wouldn't say that we've returned to trust necessarily. I think we're establishing a dialogue right now. Like, we're going to have a civil dialogue. Both sides, may disagree or not, but I think they were definitely receptive to feedback.
Right.
We were always in unison, almost exclusively in every session. When one person had feedback, everyone was like, "Yeah, that's correct." So it's kind of hard to not listen to a united CSM, right? You don't have different voices you can latch onto to kind of reinforce your cognitive bias. It's, hey, they're all telling me the same thing.
Right.
So it was very constructive sessions. Some were more spirited than others, but I would say that the spirited sessions were only maybe 2 of all of them, and things that probably won't make it in the notes for NDA reasons I can't go into, but.
Yeah.
It was good. Like, I think that having the CSM be almost basically everyone knew except Steve, obviously, and Gorski, it's a good thing, right? You kind of have a new guard in there, and I think the non-real life requirement was a big help in that, because it allows people now that might be a little higher caliber of person you want to have a meeting with. I'm trying to find a diplomatic way to say it, to allow them to be there.
No,
Yeah.
I understand.
Something else that they did this time is they flew the entire CSM to Iceland.
Yeah.
And I think
Yes.
being able to get all 14 of us in the room together, or more importantly in the bar together, made a big difference as far as us being able to get along and deal with each other and work together well.
Now, I have this distinct feeling, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of the sending the 14 people to Iceland, having CCP guard handle it, had a lot to do with the previous run, like the people that ran the CSM previously, just kind of losing touch with its players. Getting to it, like we had the Scion issue that came up right before the CSM started. We had a lot of drama around the CSM that eventually led to a whole new group running the CSM. You have CCP guard, you have Fozzie digging his hands in as much as he can. But do you think them flying all 14 out had a lot to do with that? Just like a lot of, hey, we kind of fucked up with who we had running it before. We have new people running it. Here, we'll show you how awesome it is now.
Oh, no question. It definitely helps. Having everyone there is hugely collaborative, like in a way that you're not going to get in any other kind of context. You're not going to get that over Skype. You're not going to get that of hip chat or meetings or whatever. In person, everyone seeing the same data at the same time by the same media type, or in person, obviously on a whiteboard or whatever. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
from an outsider opinion, I think you guys have been doing fantastic. I think everything seems mostly positive. There's a lot that you can say that there's very low expectations, right? And I think you even claimed that in your in most of your material for the election, is that this was kind of silly, but I think you guys have really taken it to a higher level than what the expectations were for this year. Because I think a lot of us thought it was just going to die.
Yeah, I'm a little bit annoyed. I kind of agreed to run for CSM, pretty much assuming that this was going to be a worthless CSM, probably the last one. This is where it's just all going to end. So no pressure. I'll just go on the CSM and screw around, and whoops.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
thought
I mean, I think
drinks
a
and
lot of us had to
party-
like burn this with salt and fire, and then sadly, I guess, or not sadly, you guys are doing a fantastic job. I mean, I think a lot of people, and even for Zenoria, who came with a lot of baggage and a lot of bad things, seems to have been doing a bang up job. So
I would say the person most responsible for it's Andy.
yeah,
CCP Siegel. So
Okay.
she definitely seems to have stepped in a bigger way, at least behind the scenes. The way she functions most of the time, she was there in person for many of the meetings, even the ones where she wasn't there. She would step in sometimes and try to check on the things. There was a couple times where she quelled the disagreement between the CSM and CCP. So I would say she's, of anyone, she gets probably the most credit.
That's
That's
actually
fantastic.
pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm actually that actually makes me smile because there's a lot of times when people will say, "Oh, yeah, there's not really a lot of discussion," and if the discussion's going on, it's between this guy or that guy. But the fact that you had that many people there and it went well, that makes me kind of happy. So getting back into changes, what do you
yeah, I
think?
think we've destroyed our normal Twitch chat because we've been too positive for too long without just a stream of bad mouthing people.
So
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
we're gonna get into that in just a minute, but real
Yeah.
quick, what is, I would say, the most positive thing to come out of this summit and the most negative? Like, what's the thing you came out of there going, yeah, that's awesome, I'm glad they're working on that, and then the other side of the coin would be, okay, yeah, they should have definitely looked at that a little bit more. We'll start with Anomada on this one.
Alpha clones. That's going to be the one of the biggest changes to the game in years, and one of the biggest positive changes to the game in years.
Okay.
I mean, how many people are subscribed to Eve just to talk to people?
Oh yeah.
And how many people disappear just because they don't want to maintain that subscription?
Yeah.
And now all of those people who might wander off are now able to hang around.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
And do you think it's a positive that they're not going to be allowed to do FuzzySoft? They're not going to be allowed to hack.
Yes.
They're not going to be able to
That-
get involved in that.
oh yeah,
Wait, who's?
absolutely.
You both sound the same at the moment. Which one was saying yes? Was it Anomada or was it Wild?
That was nominate.
Okay, yeah. So okay, and then what would you say Anomada would be the thing you wanted them to look at more? They just kind of didn't. Like you personally, like what would you want more of that you just didn't get?
I just want more look into nullsec in general. That's the like nullsec is, well, it's hard to be sure because so much is up in the air right now. But
Right.
I think nullsec in general is not in that healthy of a place.
Why?
It's because of Burkoxit, right?
Yes.
I mean, why do you think it's not as healthy as it could be? I guess?
I think FozzySov is just way too balanced towards the attackers.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And not even in terms of taking space, just in terms of torturing people.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand. Like that feels like that almost qualifies as the harassment clause, right? I just run in. I don't really want your Sov. I just want to make you Dundalk or show up. Like, there's no big fight. There's nothing for it. I'm just gonna take whatever ship I want and then just torture you.
Right. I
Yeah.
think you could pretty much fix FozzySov by just saying, okay, you need a dreadnought to run an Entosis link, and it needs to siege.
Yeah, I thought about that. Like a dreadnought.
All you need,
like
all
three
you need
things.
is to force people to commit to it, to commit something.
Yeah.
Not sending in a
Right.
throwaway frigate that, if it dies, who cares? If it doesn't die, then you're making this work for 50 other people who have to clean up that mess.
Yeah, I
And I
almost.
think this
Oh,
this
sorry.
is really all those times whenever you sat in a fleet and you sat there and you're sieging a pause and you sat there and you're like, how much ammo? How much is this going to be? How boring is this? And those alarm clock ops to kill those pauses and you bitched and you moaned. This is your fault. You did this.
Yeah, so real quick, we have some news. By the way, I'll get to Eric's point of view on this in just a second, but someone reminds me of a point that I wanted to bring up this week, and it's really important to me, and I know Eric will have a word about this, but the charity Keepstar located in Anunanen, which is located just one jump out of Tribute, which coincidentally started onlining the day that Pandemic Horde announced they're invading Tribute, has went online. It went online under the Care for Kids Corporation, and then was transferred directly to Lenny. So it is his own personal Keepstar now. It is no longer under Care for Kids, but it was presented originally as Care for Kids. What the fuck? Like, is
you
that...
mean we're right again?
This is the second Keepstar now that's been dropped by that corporation with the pretense of, don't touch it, it's for charity. Except for this time, instead of handing it to PL, so PL could sell super caps, it was then turned around and handed to Lenny as a personal Keepstar for I1ISK.
Well, I joined his mailing list. He's not with I1ISK anymore. So I think
Well, no, that's different person.
All crimes.
That's Iron Bank. That's not Lenny.
Oh,
That's Iron Bank. That's
fuck
different
it,
person.
bucket then.
But
Yeah, sorry,
we'll get Aerith. What do you think about this? Because you tend to be very opinionated when it comes to I1ISK and gambling and so on.
I mean, they dropped a Keepstar, so what? Like, who cares, man? More Keepstars. Let's see 100 of them.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to see
there. Yes.
you want to Eve scattered with these things that are like invincible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
I think the entirety of the Citadel system should be like trailer parks in space. And the more we have, it empowers more people.
Yeah, like the more guys that have their own little personal sandcastle that makes them really
Yeah.
like Eve, fine, I'm cool with that, whatever.
Oh wow. Yeah. See, that's a great view. All right.
Yeah.
So Eric, now the question comes to you. So yeah, we'll move past that. It really wasn't much of a news. It was like, hey guys, look, there's a charity Keepstar, and everyone went, yeah, it's for Lenny. Who cares? And we moved on. So the next thing is, okay, same thing question for you, Eric. Then is, what was the thing that you liked the most that they talked about, and what do you think they should have talked about more and gone into more?
Alpha clones for sure. I think
Yeah.
that going into that, seeing what they thought, what they really wanted to do with them, and how they saw them functioning, great. There was some obvious kind of gray areas, but I think I like the approach that they're taking, which is let's wait and see if it becomes a problem. And I think that's probably the prudent way. They have enough data analytics that they're going to know if it's a problem within weeks, so it's not a big deal. The thing I really didn't like was I really wanted to get nullifiers nerfed, and there doesn't seem to be any appetite for that.
So
I
you
don't like nullification on PvP ships.
So,
See, as for bomb stuff, I would like to have bombers that could go through. But I would actually be able. You know what I really want is Polaris frigates for all. I think that's what I would like.
So what you're saying, Eric, is like things like interceptors, Tengus, stuff like that, being able to be nullified.
I just want you to make a choice, sort of like on a T3 mode. Maybe it takes longer. Just you can either travel nullified or you can be PvP fit, but you really can't do both.
Yeah, see, I like that too. But my thing would be is you can be nullified, but you can't fit the cloaking module, so you can't warp cloaked. So you can be nullified, but you can't warp cloaked, or you can warp cloaked, but you can't be nullified. You know, like being able to choose, right?
I would be perfectly happy if nullification were just removed entirely.
Oh.
Yeah, see,
Well, I don't think they're going to do that.
I don't think that'll ever happen. You know, for me,
Of course not, but
I don't think that'd be a big thing. But yeah, okay. So it seems everyone pretty unanimously here is for alpha clones, right? So
Oh, yeah.
you look at alpha clones. You look how excited it is. I see it like this, and this is just my opinion. It's not the opinion of TMC or any other group, especially the Matani or any of our CSM. But I see it like this. I see it as CCP's ability to revive a dying game, and revive it in the sense that when you're struggling with money and you're having to use investor money to keep your game or company going, and this is just how I read it, it always looks better when you have a larger number to present, right? If you have 25,000 active right now, these are people 25,000 are paying for it. But if you can show that you have 100 to 10, 120, 130,000 people active in the game, logged in, playing the game, looking at the game, even if 90% of them aren't paying for it, it still looks like your game is alive and well. WoW recently transitioned to this model where you can spend in-game gold to keep your accounts going, and their numbers ballooned like crazy. It went back up. Like, it was looking really bad for them for a while, and then it went right back up. So, do you guys think that that's what they're looking to do with this? They're looking to say, okay, look, our game's not dead. Look how awesome it is. It's back and going. I mean, because...
Well, I think it's a transition thing, right? It's an age thing. Most of us have been playing EVE for a very long time, and we're aging. The demographic from EVE has always been kind of old, mid-30s.
Right.
Now we're getting older, right? This is a demographic that has less free time. You've got to make it to where they don't need to sit here and play EVE just to grind up IS to pay for the game, because maybe it's not quite a game that they're willing to pay $15 or $20 a month for, right?
Yeah.
So you got to make the threshold of enjoying the game at all with some minimal social commit be free. And so I think it's a great thing. I think they're going to take a small, short-term profitability hit because there'll be a lot of vets that probably let accounts lapse.
Right.
But I think that will be offset over the long run.
Well, I think they're also reaching the other areas of revenue stream, right? So if if you couldn't do a free to play model when there was nothing else to like how to get in. So before they had Plex, and then you could buy Plex, and then you had Aram, and you have things to spend it on. Before you had to pay, you had to subscribe in order to get your skill points because they've never killed your character. You just couldn't actually do anything.
Yeah, I think they're going with like the South Korean model. So for anyone that ever plays a lot of Korean grind games, they're called games like Archage and stuff. The games are free. You can play for free. You just can't do everything. You can do a little bit of it. Now Eve is trying its damn near hardest with a lot of propaganda to say, or a media message to say, hey, you can do anything you want. We're not limiting you to anything for free. You can play for free and do whatever you want. It's not just a trial account, but it is. To me, it's a glorified trial account, right? It's come in, play this limited ability, this limited role. You're not going to do wormhole space. You're not going to do Fozzie Solve. You're not going to shoot POS. But you're going to be able to fly a spaceship in Faction Warfare, and you're going to be able to move around a bit. And then if you like the game, you can buy the game. So I don't know. I think. I mean, they're trying really hard.
There's some weird things. I remember being part of Faction Warfare where we were all encouraged to take up when a war deck got put up against us. We were all like recommended to put up multiple accounts into this into the corp so that it would impact the total cost. I think, and I mean, there's a fascinating level of what you can do with even just a new character that comes out, right? A newbie, if you will. So it'd be interesting. I get it. They're going to try to protect against high-sec ganking, but there's so many other dynamics of what you can do if you have an army of just throwaway characters.
Anominate, go ahead. Sorry, you were.
Oh, sorry, no.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought there.
So it says, at least it's not BioWare's shitty free-to-play limitations for the STW.
Oh, right.
SWTOR. I don't know. It says, do you think Alpha Clone limitations are too restrictive? I personally do. I do. I think if you want to eventually fly a capital with an Alpha Clone, that you should be able to work to that. Now, I'm not saying you should be able to buy officer mods and fly Titan, but, if you want to try out a carrier, you're going to have to either pay for it or watch as a carrier farms you, right? You're not going to have a fleet of Alpha Clones go into 0-0 or go into wormhole space and do anything, right? They're going to be limited on where they go. They're going to be limited on what they can do. And I don't know. I also see a flip side to this. If they allow you to have... Now, this is a question I guess I'm going to ask now. Are you allowed to have more than one Alpha Clone as of right now? Did they bring this up at the CSM? Are you going to be allowed to have more than one, or is it just like you can have one Alpha Clone and then your pay accounts?
I don't think we can talk about it.
That's NDA? Okay.
Oh.
I figured I'd ask. I didn't know because I could see it like this. If it's not limited, I'm going to have 20 characters in a spreadsheet in 20 different systems of 0-0, and when I want eyes on a certain system, I'm going to log that account in, boom. I don't ever have to pay for it.
That was basically the exact example I used. Actually, I said that we just put scouts on Citadel, like medium sits on every gate in Dell.
Yeah,
and you don't even have to have it doesn't even have to be shared because you can have 10 different guys who all have 10 different Alpha Clones in that same system, and have 24-hour clockwork watch. You could have an Alpha Clone that lives in a Citadel or even lives in an NPC station because NPC stations will never die according to CCP. And that you're going to be stuck there for forever. Now, one thing
more that you could just sit tethered and descan all day. That's what I was saying. It could be.
Oh, yeah, that's even better. Wow. Okay. Scouts are a big thing, and that's another thing is, they are limiting what you can do. You can't do Fozzie Solve, which is big. That's a big deal because if you could do Fozzie Solve, I'd have thousands of alts. Right? You could just put an alt in every system. If it dies, you bring a new ship to it. Right?
And that's exactly why it doesn't.
Right. We're looking at something right here that I'm curious about, and it has to do with I guess it has to do with Citadels and some changes, and this might be again NDA. I didn't see this when I was reading through the summit notes. Are they still of the stance when the last time a CCP member actually came on the show, he talked about how when they do Citadels, NPC stations are going to stay. They don't want people to come back to this game and have all their shit gone because the station got blown up and it got moved somewhere. Are they still of that stance that the stations that are NPC space are going to stay NPC, like they're going to stay there so that nobody has to ever have a Citadel? Or are they looking to eventually get away from that? Is that another NDA thing?
Which NPC space you talking about?
Like, all right, so say I want to live in NPC PR-, which is in Delph. I can live in that NPC station, never have to have a Citadel, never have to own a station, never have to own Solve, and now I can harass anyone in Delph ever without any risk.
Well, I can tell you what is not NDA stuff that was public, because I don't think
Right.
this even came up, was they had stated, this is many, many months ago, and this was, I think,
Sure.
on Tweet Slack, Larkin maybe, they had said that they were looking at reducing the number of, like, so example, in Pureblind, maybe instead of, a handful of stations, it's got one.
Oh!
They had floated that idea. That's the last article.
That would be... So, the only station that's NPC would be PR- rather than PR and 1DH and...
Yep, 5
That's amazing. That would fix the problem right there. That would be fucking amazing. I could see a lot of difficulty with that, and a lot of people freaking the fuck out, but I like that idea quite a lot.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, yeah, so that's perfect. Oh, that makes me happy.
Well, that's just a throwaway comment a dev made months ago. I don't know
Well,
if
yeah,
it'll
sure.
ever come in.
Well, the fact that they're even thinking about it's a good thing, because, just like I said, just a year ago, it was, yeah, we don't ever want to remove them because, I think it was CCP Falcon, because if we remove them, people coming back to the game are going to have all their stuff gone, and they're going to say, fuck it, and quit. And we don't want that.
Right, that's what Asset Safety take care
Right.
of now. Like, I think they've got that method now.
Okay, so the question was asked, are alpha clones going to be restricted to HiSec? No, they're not. But here's another thing. So one of the worries, again, with alpha clones is they're not able to do fuzzy soft. That's a fact. They're not going to be able to cloak. But can they kill things in HiSec? Or are they going to be limited in the sense that they have to be always green in HiSec?
There was some talk about that, but let's see.
No, it made it in the notes
Yeah.
that we said it was heavy-handed.
Because I can see if you set those always green, they can never say participate in a Burn Jita for kids. Stuff like that could never happen.
Now, I think everyone's kind of comfortable on the system, especially waiting to see how that plays out. Like, let it
Right.
come in, let them gank if they want to, and just see how many people use alphas to gank. And that percentage is very high, then maybe it needs nerfing.
Yeah, right. Because, I mean, they already have a rule at CCP that you can't, make a character to -10, delete the character, make a new one. Make a character -10, delete the character, they already have that thing about that. People apparently say, go beat the dog.
Yeah, I know. I think
It's all right. So someone just asked, is BJ for kids going to happen? Yes, Burn Jita for kids is still happening. The exact date of that is unknown, but the Matani has really pushed and worked on that very hard, and that is going to happen. Now, an exact date or time, I don't know. Did that get brought up at all? Wait, hold on. The CSM happened a month ago. Never mind, that wouldn't have been brought up. But what do you two think? Our wonderful CSM members, do you think hashtag BJ for kids is a great idea, or do you think CCP is going to get pretty pissed about this?
Which one was this one? Like, I don't remember.
All right, so
this
last
one.
week, an idea came up with, we were talking about charities, and we were talking about how charities are kind of absurd and Eve. To say that you have a charity to do something and then go somewhere and say, okay, don't shoot us, we're a charity. We're celebrating our friend's death, don't shoot us. We want to light Sinos. That kind of thing. So it's kind of ridiculous. So last week I came up with, how about we just burn Jita and do it for the kids? How about we just have a burn Jita for charity? And the hashtag that came up during the show was hashtag BJ for kids, which is being linked to Twitch chat. And I'm
Sure,
curious,
I mean,
Did you do this, or was that Jay?
it was me, and then it kind of just rolled. I think Jay came up with the hashtag, and then Asher started falling out of his chair. And
Gotcha.
but
it's not like we need an excuse to burn Jita. you
Well,
know?
yeah,
Well,
but I
is
mean-
it still possible? Can you still burn Jita? I mean, I thought after
Yeah.
the last couple of burn downs that they changed the dynamics of.
You can
no,
we
still-
you typically burn Jita, April,
Right.
May, and we hadn't this year obviously because we were involved in moving and crap, and now we have a ton of stuff to clean up, and we can do it. We just haven't really planned it.
Yeah, see, the thing is with so people are wondering, burn Jita for kids is a bold move. It gives all proceeds to Chile Kravitz. No, thank you. The thing is, we don't even have to donate to a charity. We could call it the charity of burning Jita. I mean, who cares? The point is that it kind of makes a mockery of the idea that I think there's a mockery in Eve, and CCP has been really focused.
I heard
on,
it's going to be wild, though. I'm excited.
Wow. But, all right, so let's get back to CSM. I'm sorry. I was just talking about it. But you say CCP Siegel was very involved and did a lot, but out of all the CSM or CCP members that did attend, which one kind of was there? Like, I'm kind of concerned because you say Fozzie was there sometimes, he was not there others. What do you mean by, like, not there?
Well,
Was
you
he
got to
just-
remember, they come in for their session. So
Oh,
Fozzie would
oh.
only be in his sessions, right?
Right.
He's not going to be in there every meeting, right? So every meeting tends to be a different team of devs, and usually there was one or two devs that did the presentation or did most of the talking, and then they would have a few more devs from that team in there. Maybe they would answer an obscure question that they had a specialty in, or maybe they didn't speak. So it wasn't all that unusual for some devs not to speak.
Okay. And do you think, I mean, I know it's probably NDA, and I'm going to ask anyways, but do you think they really listened when it came to 0-0, like the quality of life improvements that 0-0 needs to really matter? Do you think that they really did their job to help with that?
I think that when the discussions were happening, that they were listening, yeah. And I think
Okay.
Mimic was pretty receptive to some of our quality of life problems. The interesting part was it kind of came out that she wasn't aware of some of them, which maybe that's our fault, that we need to be doing a
Which
better
CCP
job
was
of
this?
communicating up. Mimic.
Okay. And see that that's kind of interesting though, because I guess it could be a thing, but and I know this might sound bad to CCP, but when 90% of your talking with the community is done through Reddit, not your own personal forums and not through things that you personally control, I think that makes it a very difficult way to get information.
It's worse than that. It infects their thinking. And this happened.
Right.
I caught this on Siegel, and I think maybe a couple other people caught it.
Yeah.
She, at one point, and this isn't NDA because this was at dinner, so this doesn't count.
Right.
I had stated something, one of the reasons we did something, one of the reasons we took a particular path on our decision tree.
Correct.
And she looked at me and she goes, "Would you really do that? Deny your members content?" And I laughed. Like, we've done far worse. And it's like she's never heard of blue balling. It's like she's never heard of the Goon Way of Warfare. I was stunned. It was just like, she clearly doesn't know us at all.
I see that, and I saw that at FanFest when she stepped on stage, and the first thing she said was "Dreaded is recruiting." It's like, and I also saw that with another CCP person that was in charge of the CSM during the elections, where she said, it's because of your secret shareholders that Cyan can't be on Reddit, and that was a troll, or on the CSM, and that's what the troll that we started on Reddit. So that's the thing that bothers me, is that when you put a lot of your company's information, the CSM minutes, the first place you found them from CCP within seconds of them being on their own website was Reddit. It wasn't like they tweeted about it on their official Twitter. It wasn't like they put an in-game notification. It was Reddit. And so when you have a group that relies on the I guess you could say mob mentality of, do we like this or not, it makes it really hard to get information to a developer. With their own forums, at least they control it, right?
Also, how drunk do you have to get them to ask them, like, seriously, wormholes, incursions, and how much you hate us? Like, I want a tinfoil hat. Do they ever, do you ever have seconds where you're like, come on, just admit you don't like us and just say it?
I would say we have documentation proving CCP doesn't like us.
I mean, do you ever, like, can you just ruffle through some of their, like, wallets and be like, what? Why do you have Elise in your, why is Elise here?
Crap,
Why?
nominate. I got to send those emails to Siegel, or don't forget, let me forget.
Like, you should be, like, flipping through the Breckenridge photos and be like, what's this? What's this? Incursion planning diagram all the way, huh? I just feel like sometimes we need to talk about that. Put the hat on.
Yeah, it says here, it says, if you're not part of TweetFleet, you'll never actually get to speak to a dev. I got banned on TweetFleet for a couple of weeks because I called a CCP member a certain name. Well, I'll just say it. I referred to CCP, not Siegel. What's that? Who was in Lilu as Hitler incarnate? Apparently, you can't do that. You can't call a CCP member Hitler.
I posted my CSM election on Pornhub and Xhamster, and then linked it into TweetFleet, and that just was not acceptable. I didn't know that.
I don't understand. Well, see, that's what I don't understand. And Nominate, you can maybe comment on this. And I see they've done a lot better job with the CSM post-election than they did pre-election. But the idea that they use TweetFleet and Reddit as their primary modes of communication with the player base instead of their own forums, why is that? I mean, did they even say, hey, we're going to really focus on getting back to our own control here? What is the deal with that? Do you know?
I think they're just go ahead and nominate.
Oh, sorry.
Well, we did bring it up, but I don't know how much.
Yeah, if it's NDA, that's fine. Just say NDA. I don't want to get you in trouble or anything, but because this is a serious question, right? It's when is CCP going to take control of their own game and stop relying on the players to market it? Right? They rely on big fights. They rely on this. They rely on that. And sorry,
it's an easy way to get validation. So, when you can go to Reddit and know you're going to have a crap load of upvotes for anything that you post.
Yeah, I've seen double sides of that coin, right? Like I posted I love CCP as a troll and got like 300 upvotes, and then I posted recently I posted something about charities and got like mega downvoted. So it's kind of a fickle place. But Aerith, what do you think? I know you wanted to say something because you were about to say something.
I mean,
what can you say? I don't want to get you in any trouble or anything, but
I'll try to keep it like out of the realm of like individuals or what individuals said. But
right.
I have a perspective now that having been to Iceland that I did not have before. I've been to a lot of places. They tend to be sunnier or happier or nice places I want to go. If I lived in Iceland, I would be all over Reddit slurping all the balls I could chew because that place is a hellhole with nothing to do and shitty food. Sorry, CCP, but hate your country.
Did you have the shark and the Brennan?
No, I did not try to do the tourist crap. I went to a steakhouse, and I'm using air quotes here. We go into this place, I order a steak. It's a flank steak.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Who goes to a steakhouse and gets a flank steak? We like to make beef jerky out of that in the United States.
Yeah, I don't trust a country that I've never seen a cow. Like, I like to actually know that somewhere, somehow, you actually have this thing.
They used to have cows, but volcanoes. I mean, they don't work with cows.
You think there's cows? There's no cows. I don't think there's a cow in Iceland. It's like a tree.
There used to.
No, I wasn't expecting them to have cows. I figured the meat was imported. I just thought it was the same kind of meat.
No, I mean, they're like, isn't there like their 3 Michelin star like based on scavenging, or is that not in Iceland? No, I'm not shitty. Like they have one where it's like this is where they go out and find the food and it's a truffle or a leaf or
wow, I don't even know. Oh yeah, here we go.
Hey,
we gotta. Sorry.
I do think that we do need to focus on Vegas.
Yeah, this needs to be talked about. We got 5 minutes to go. I know Nominat's going to Vegas. Wild is I am. I know Aerith, you're not. Yeah. But I gotta ask you, Aerith. This might have got brought up at the CSM, and I gotta know if this is an NDA. What the fuck are they thinking? Pinball as their pub crawl. They're literally gonna go to one bar.
Well, wait, define it. You can't say pub crawl if you don't crawl. If
you're
just at a pub. I have one pub. I already prepaid. My wife's like, you already bought the ticket, so you have to go. I'm like, God.
How many people are gonna ask for their money back? Are they gonna get their money back? Because like the question is you have people who paid money to pub crawl to drink with devs, who are now instead of drinking and pub crawling, they are literally gonna go to a bar, do some kind of trivia. Then go to the world, what do you want to call it? Oh, God.
Speaking of bars, just like to bring you, this thing is brought to you by Tito's Vodka.
So then they go pinball. But was this brought up at all? Like, did they come to CSM and say, hey, we've got this great idea of playing pinball for our pub crawl. What do you guys think? Was that ever addressed to you guys at all, even in passing?
No. The only time Vegas came up was when I was complaining that it was on Halloween, so anyone with kids is going to be like, sorry, can't go, man. That's about the only thing we talked about.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's not like pinball's bad. Let's not discount pinball. That sounds really fucking fun.
I have a pinball machine in my garage. It's an old one. I mean, no joke on pinball. It's just.
But, I mean, it's awesome. It's just when you thought. I mean, classically, how many this thing has happened for many years? I mean, was it less participation last year? Or they just don't want to run around? Like, are we all getting so old that you just can't walk 15 feet and drink? It just seems a little odd.
My plan with the pub crawl event was to do like I did at the pub crawl event at the Eve Meet, or in the big Iceland Fan Fest, was to not get a ticket, show up drunk, say I'm here, throw on my hat, and then drink the rest of the night with devs, right? That was the whole plan. Yeah. I mean, the pub crawl I went on at Eve, the Eve meetup was literally meet up with Darius's group, a bunch of goons, 2 beautiful women, and I'm already drunk, and then I drank my way through the rest of the bars, and then, although these 2 women were holding the flags, and they were bought and paid for, and it was pretty amazing. But yeah, what do you think, Nomady? You're coming to Vegas.
Yeah.
Would you rather drink and drink and drink and bounce places and party, or go play pinball?
Well, that's what I plan to do. Not pinball, the other thing.
The other thing, because I do hear, and I did hear this. We are having a couple of private parties, Friday and Saturday. I know I'm going to be hopefully sleeping alone, air quotes, in the suite on Sunday, hopefully, or my girlfriend will kill me.
Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, he's sleeping with me, so it's wild night.
A wild night. But yeah, I am really, really looking forward to Vegas. So we have about 2 minutes left. I want to take a moment to thank our lots of new subscribes using the Prime system. We've had like 6 of those, so that's pretty fucking awesome. And we've also had a lot of resubs. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I know that Matani's not here today, but Wild did an excellent job of filling in, and our 2 guests have been quite amazing. Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
With hookers. I mean, it's a glass top, so you can do a lot of things.
It says they have cows in Iceland. They use them for dairy, though. Beef is imported from Argentina, I think. This is from a guy named Rumwaffle.
Interesting.
So.
I mean,
I'm
everything's
from fucking
imported.
Texas, so we got the best beef in the world. Eat it.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah. Agreed. Well, I am looking forward to Vegas. I think it's going to be a great time, and I think everyone should try to get, to the goon side of the house. I'm gonna wear a Black Legion t-shirt though. It's gonna be awesome. I want to get that Elo Knight and Mitani photo. Awkward, but just like it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty excited. But yeah, thanks guys. Yeah. Oh, another 19-month resubscribe. Wow, the resubscribe just rolling out here. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Seriously, thank you guys for stopping by. I know it's gone by really fast, and I appreciate you guys telling as much as you can. I know that you guys have a lot of NDA, and I don't want to get you two in trouble, especially as much as CCP tends to watch goons with a fucking magnifying glass. Like, I had someone ask me the other day, hey, Boat, I have all this stuff to give you for free. Would you like to give me some EVE Gold for free? And I'm like, no, I'm not getting banned. CCP hates me. Are you fucking kidding me? he offered me like 100 billion ISK worth of stuff, and he's like, I want your ISK. And I'm like, nope, see ya, bye. So, yeah, thanks for the show. This show comes to a wraps now. Just a few moments here. Up next is Shout Chat with Kid Color. We're going to mock Tryon quite extensively because they fucked up on some things recently. So if you want to hear an unmuted rant, you're going to hear it in a few moments. And then the Boat Show comes up after that. So stay tuned, and we'll be back shortly. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching The Meta Show.